The wooden beast screams as fire consumes its hollow belly. The trap has failed. Inside Troy, the night air smells not of victory, but of charred Greek flesh. On the beaches, the retreat becomes a massacre. King Priam's archers rain death upon the invaders. The great ships of Agamemnon are not launching, they are burning. Achilles, the invulnerable legend, lies dead in the sand, an arrow through his heel. Without their champion, the morale of the Achaeans shatters like fragile pottery. King Agamemnon is captured at dawn. He is not granted a warrior's death, but is executed before the Scaean gates as a warning to all who challenge Troy. With the Greek coalition destroyed, the balance of power shifts instantly. Troy secures total control over the Hellespont, taxing every ship that passes between the Aegean and Black Sea. Gold flows into Priam's treasury. The city rebuilds its walls stronger than before, using the melted armor of fallen Greek heroes to forge new gates of bronze. Hector, having survived the war, succeeds Priam. He is a wise ruler who rejects expansionism, focusing instead on trade alliances with the Hittite Empire to the east. Meanwhile, mainland Greece collapses. The Mycenaean palaces burn, not from foreign invasion, but from civil war. Without the spoils of Troy, the warlords turn on each other. The Dorians invade a weakened Greece effortlessly. Athens remains a small, insignificant village of goat herders. The Parthenon is never built. The philosophers are never born. The concept of democracy dies in its cradle. The Mediterranean remains dominated by monarchies and god-kings. The individual is nothing. The state and the crown are everything. But the biggest change happens in the West. Aeneas, the Trojan prince, never flees the burning city. He stays in Troy to serve as Hector's general. Because Aeneas never travels to Italy, the legend of Romulus and Remus is never written. The swampy village on the Tiber River never becomes Rome. Without Rome, the Etruscans remain the dominant power in Italy. Their loose confederation of city-states trades with Troy, but lacks the military discipline to conquer the world. Carthage rises unopposed in the western Mediterranean. Without Roman legions to salt their earth, the Carthaginians build a massive maritime empire stretching to the Atlantic. History becomes bipolar. The East belongs to the Troy-Hittite alliance. The West belongs to Carthage. A cold war of trade and espionage begins between these two giants. The Latin alphabet is never developed. The world adopts a variation of the Hittite cuneiform or the Phoenician script. The very letters we write today do not exist. Christianity, born in a Roman province, faces a different fate. Without the Roman road network and the Pax Romana to spread it, it remains a small local sect. The polytheistic gods of Olympus and the East remain dominant for centuries longer. Zeus, Baal, and Marduk are worshipped well into what we call the Middle Ages. Technology stagnates in some areas but flourishes in others. Troy invests heavily in metallurgy and architecture. They invent steam-powered automatons centuries ahead of schedule. By the year 1000 AD, the Trojan Empire is the center of global learning. The Great Library is not in Alexandria, but inside the impregnable walls of Troy. The Renaissance never happens because the classical Greek texts were never written. Art remains stylized, rigid, and focused on glorifying the eternal monarchs. Europe remains tribal and fractured. The Celts and Germanic tribes never face a unified Roman enemy, so they never unite into larger kingdoms like France or Germany. The colonization of the Americas is delayed by centuries. Without the competition of European nation-states, there is no desperate race across the Atlantic for gold and spices.
When contact is finally made, it is by Carthaginian merchants, not conquistadors. They trade purple dye for Aztec gold, creating a commercial network rather than a genocide. Today, the world speaks a descendant of Luwian. The legal systems are based on restorative justice, not Roman punitive law. We value community honor over individual liberty.
The Trojan War was the fork in the road. By burning the horse, Troy preserved the Bronze Age order. The chaos of freedom was traded for the stability of kings.
There are no republics. There are no presidents. But there is peace. The Pax Troiana has lasted for 3,000 years under the watchful eye of the sun god.
The legacy of the West is not born in Athens or Rome, but remains locked within the indomitable walls of Troy. The Bronze Age never ended, it just evolved.